Hello everyone and welcome to Retail Archaeology. Today we'll be returning to Paradise Valley Mall. It's been a little over a year since the last time I was here for a video, and I've gotten a lot of reports that things are a lot worse here, so I wanted to take a look. Paradise Valley Mall is one of my favorite malls in the Phoenix area, mainly because of the interesting design and architecture, like these weird cube structures that are over each of the entrances. Each one is painted a different pastel color inside. Let's head inside the mall now and see how things are going. And right when I stepped in, I can tell you it was very quiet, and it seems like there are less people here than the last time I was here. One of my favorite storefronts to see here, though, is still open. It's that fortune teller storefront that you can see there on the right. And that place cracks me up. It's been there for a very long time from what I understand, and it's all Egyptian themed, which is strange. I don't usually equate Egyptian culture with fortune telling. And what really cracked me up is the lady was actually giving a reading and she was wearing a weird Egyptian wig, like this one here in the picture. I tried to go by and get a shot, but I didn't want to be too obvious. If you're not familiar with the history on this mall, I'll give a quick rundown of it. It was opened in 1978 and was developed by Westcor and is now operated by Macerich. This mall also has one of the saddest arcades I've ever seen. It's right there inside this little seating area that looks like it's a hollowed out storefront. But there's really not much in here except for a couple of skill cranes and prize games. And even a lot of those look like they're out of order. I really do dislike these kind of arcades. This one's out of order, and look, it's got Nintendo Switches in it, like anybody's actually ever going to be able to win one of those. This mall was originally developed to be a high-end shopping mall, but a lot of newer high-end shopping centers have opened up around it, which has really leached a lot of traffic from this mall. Another issue this mall has faced is the demographics in the immediate surrounding area have shifted from being upper class to more of a middle class situation, so this mall has had to try to adapt to that as well, but it's had a hard time doing that. There are a lot of other malls in the Phoenix area that already cater to more middle class demographics. In the early 90s, I had an aunt and uncle that lived near this mall, so when we used to go visit them, we would quite often come here, and I remember it just being very busy, bustling with customers and all kinds of activities, so it's really sad to see it like this. Mark and I were shocked to see how many more stores had closed since the last time we were here. A lot of viewers had mentioned that the store closure rate seems to be increasing, and that's definitely what we noticed. This is an old KB toy store, and it looks like nothing has moved in here since all the KB toy stores shut down. There's so many empty storefronts now that it seems like this mall may have entered a death spiral that it may not be able to recover from. I read that one of the things they hope will revitalize this mall is the Phoenix light rail service being extended out to this mall, but that planned expansion isn't until the 2030s, and I just don't know that this mall has that much time left. This footage was filmed in July, and since then I've had more viewers send me even more pictures of stores having closed in August. This mall currently has 4 open anchors: a Macy's, a JCPenney, a Dillards, and a Costco. The unfortunate thing about the Costco is it's not accessible from inside the mall like the Costco is at Christown Spectrum Mall, and I think if they had done that and made it accessible from the mall, it probably would have helped out quite a bit. Heading down this corridor, we're approaching the Dillards, so let's take a look inside. This Dillards opened in 1989 as an expansion to the mall, and I have to say, much like a lot of Dillards stores, I really like the way this one looks. I like the marble flooring, I like the ceiling accents, and I really like the brass accents. It looks like a lot of this hasn't been updated since it opened in 1989. It has a lot of that late 80s, early 90s aesthetic to it. What is different about this Dillards compared to a lot of their other stores that I see is there's really nobody shopping in here. I'm used to seeing a Dillards busy on the weekends. At times it felt like we had the entire store to ourselves. I did get a good chuckle at these mannequins. That is just awful posture. One of the architectural details I've always liked about this mall are the ceilings and the skylights. They're very unique. I don't think I've seen anything like this in any other mall. And the big, huge skylights make it very bright in here. You can see that they don't have a lot of the lights turned on because they're getting enough natural light from the huge skylights. Here's the JCPenney, which is an original anchor to the mall, and it opened in February of 1979, shortly after the mall itself opened. And I really like the entrance to this one. I like the dark tiles, but you can see it is flanked by more closed stores. Speaking of closed stores, here is the recently closed Sears. This closed in January of 2019. This originally opened as a Diamonds in February of 1979 and then became a Sears in 1989. And this was open the last time we were here, but it was very, very dead, so it doesn't surprise me that this location closed. The Sears being dark like that makes this whole wing of the mall seem kind of dreary and depressing. Here's a shot inside. You can see it's very dark, but if you want to see what it looked like when it was opened, there is footage in my previous Paradise Valley Mall video. Now here's the Macy's wing, and this Macy's originally opened as a Goldwater's in August of 1980, and then it became a J.W. Robinson's in 1989, followed by Robinson's May in 1993, and then finally Macy's in 2006. That is some very green carpet. That's almost like billiards table green. It seems kind of dingy and outdated, so I wonder if it was here when Macy's moved in and they just didn't replace it. Macy's has been having some struggles, and they've been closing some stores, so it wouldn't surprise me if this Macy's popped up on a store closure list eventually. What's interesting about this location is that the Macy's was actually located in a different spot in this mall originally. It was where the Costco is now. That building opened as a Broadway in 1991, and then it became Macy's in 1996, and then in 2006 Macy's moved over here so that that building could be demolished and the Costco could be put in. We did see a few shoppers here and there, but this is really way too empty for a department store to be on the weekend. But that's the story with this mall. It's way too empty on a weekend for it to survive. It seems like now it's on the same trajectory as Metro Center Mall. Now I think this store was new since the last time we were here. This is a CBD Emporium, and I've been seeing these pop up in a lot of malls lately. This store, Eliza or Eliza, I'm not sure how you say that, was open the last time we were here, but as you can see they just recently closed, and checking out the sign it looks like they've moved to Arrowhead Mall, which is a much busier mall that we've covered on this channel in the past. Everywhere you turn in this mall there's just huge chunks of empty storefronts. It seems like the vacancy rate's about 40 or 50% now. Here's a storefront that I really like with its dominoes and checker print. I think they used to sell like board games and stuff here, but it's been empty for a long time. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to come here as a kid, and I remember these corridors being packed with people on the weekends. Here's a recently closed Payless, and it's weird to think that these are now all gone when they were such a mall staple. And I believe this used to be a Pacific Sunwear. I'm not sure how long it's been closed, but I'm guessing it's been closed for a while because they're doing that thing where they display other products in an empty storefront's display windows. This mall is flirting very closely with that line of officially being a dead mall. It certainly feels like one in here, and it seems to be suffering with a lot of symptoms of one. But we did notice little chunks of customers here and there, so maybe it's more appropriate to call it a zombie mall at this point. You know, just a mall that's dead but doesn't know it yet. With the increasing amount of empty storefronts it has, how little footfall we saw in the anchor stores, and just how unbusy the mall is in general, it feels like it may have passed a point of no return. Which is unfortunate because, like I said, I really do like this mall and the look of it, and it's a shame to think that it's going to be replaced by just, bland strip malls and beige boxes. Now let's take a look at the food court. And the first thing we notice is there's definitely more empty spots here than there was the last time we were here. And as you can see, there's really nobody hanging out in the food court, which I hate to see because the food court at a mall is one of my favorite parts, but there's nobody here eating lunch or socializing or anything like that. It's just very quiet. It feels like there's less tables in here as well. It looks like maybe they've pulled some tables and chairs out and just kind of spaced things out wider. I could be wrong on that though. And here's a shot of the fountain that's in the food court. And unfortunately, at this point, this fountain is no longer working. It was working the last time we were here, and I actually got a really cool shot of inside the fountain, but now you can see it's just kind of dried out and dusty. It's a bummer. Here we can see some of the stained glass along the entrance to the food court. And also the last time we were here, it looked like there was a new restaurant moving into this spot, but now it looks like it's empty again, so that didn't last long at all. Now I showed these in my previous video, but I just wanted to show them again real quick. There's these tiles in the food court that it looks like they sold for some sort of fundraising thing, and it looks like it would have been around 1988 because that's the year on a lot of the tiles. Something else interesting about this mall is it was a shooting location for the original Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure film. They were going to use the exterior of it for the outside shots of San Dimas Mall, but unfortunately all those scenes were cut. It's also a shame to see this store closed. Watch out, because it had a really neat neon sign. There used to be a lot of neon signs in this mall, but I think this Chompy sign might be one of the few that's left. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up with this lady taking a nap in the middle of the mall. Is this a mall that you used to go to as a kid, or do you have any memories of it? I know that I have a lot of fond memories of it, and I would love to hear yours down in the comments below. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Want to see your name here? Head on over to patreon.com/retailarchaeology to find out how you can help support the channel. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out my update video on Paradise Valley Mall. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and also make sure to follow at these social media links down there because that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel.